In this video, I take a break from technical videos to go racing, just for the fun of it. Come join me at an MX-5 rookie race where it gets very exciting. And all from an older gamer's perspective. Welcome to Rudskogen Motor Center, or however you pronounce that, and my first race of the week that I've done for a long time. I've done a lot of technical videos over the last few weeks, in fact far too many. I think my brain is exploding. So I thought I would do something a little lighter this week and have a race video, an actual race. I would actually use the equipment that I've been showing you how I can optimize to actually, do what it's supposed to do. Anyway, this is an aerial view of the track and I'm going to take you around it and then we will begin the race. You can see here we're coming past the pits on our way to T1. This is the qualifying lap I'm doing here. We're seeing it from the blimp high up there in the sky. Going around this corner here, it's a little bit tricky. You've got an entrance to the pits there, so if anybody's crashed out early in the race, that's where you'll meet them, probably sideways on. Coming down here, you can see from the air, it doesn't seem too dramatic, but if we look from the cockpit, you can see it's quite a steep downhill, and that leads into this very sharp U-bend. We lose a lot of people here, especially coming out of it on this corner here as we come into sort of this S-bend. Now we're going back uphill again. If we see it from the cockpit, you can see just how steep that is until we reach the very top of the hill here, and we've got another quite brutal U-bend that can catch people out, especially with grip wise, as we go back downhill again. We're out here in Norway today, and it's obviously very hilly going up and down all over the place, but it's beautiful countryside. It really does look wonderful, especially with my new graphics card, my 4070Super. Have I mentioned how brilliant I think that thing is? Probably. Anyway, as we come out now through these various different corners, we're proceeding to the last brutal bend of this course. It's a kind of like a 180 type thing. You come round in this very, very tight circle. You have to hang on for dear life as you come round. And just when you think you're in the clear, you do end up going wide on that corner. And then, of course, you have this very, very long straight as you head all the way down to the line, past the pits, to see if you can get the best time possible. And then, of course, you get to do it all over again. Race time. So here we are on the grid. I didn't do spectacularly well for qualification. In fact, I qualified only 7th on the grid, and I had quite a few drivers ahead of me that were quite a lot faster and quite a lot better times than me. So it wasn't an awe-inspiring start to this race, to be honest with you. I haven't even left the grid and I'm already feeling underwhelmed by my performance. You can see on the left there, the upper left, is the Race Labs overlay. I'm using that today as a bit of an experiment. This is on a replay. I was quite surprised to find that Race Labs works with replay. It looks pretty cool. It's easy enough to set up and get going. Kind of have to follow some instructions on YouTube tutorials because it's not particularly straightforward, but it's not mind-bendingly complex either. So, sit down, give yourself a few minutes, you'll get it working as I have done here. So as you can see, 7th on the grid there, Paul G. I am the C-class driver, which is highlighted in gold, which is lovely. And above me is a D-class driver, and ahead of him is an A-class driver and then a C-class driver. Can't remember who the other drivers were ahead there. One of the unfortunate things I found about this overlay was that I couldn't display all 12 drivers at the same time. There seemed to be no way that I could drag this panel out to do that. If anybody knows Race Labs better than me and can give me some tips on how to do that, I'd really appreciate it. So put a comment below if you know how to display all of the drivers in the overlay. And we got off to a reasonably clean start. I'm not quite sure what happened here over on the left. If you keep an eye on the blue and white car there, he seems to get intimidated by the black car coming in on him and totally freaks out. Unfortunately, he freaks out completely in front of me, and I have to hammer on the brakes really hard, which unfortunately lost me another place off the grid. So here I am. I'm still at 7th, but that's because we just lost a car. But technically, I am down a place because the blue car came past me as we went through the corner there. And that was a bit disappointing. And as we come down to this next corner, things kind of even themselves out a little bit as we begin to get the first chaos of the race. It didn't take long. The red car bounces off, hits the blue car as I manage to swerve around them both, and behind me I can see all sorts of chaos going. Seen here from another angle, you can see the red car really gets a hit there from the blue car, who pretty much couldn't do anything about it, and then the black car piles into them all, and the red car piles into all of them. It's just absolute chaos. How I managed to squeeze past all of that, I don't know. I think I just said a quick Hail Mary as I came out and was thankful that nothing had actually happened to me. If you do iRacing, if you do any kind of sim racing on any platform, you know that feeling of the first lap terror. You reach a corner and somebody's accident that has nothing to do with you suddenly piles into your car. You get a meatball, you're in the pits, and you basically your race is over. It's a really, really horrible feeling, I can tell you. And as I carried on downhill here, counting my lucky stars, I came around this corner and found yet another car parked on the track. I don't quite know what happened to him, but he had the good grace to reverse out of my way, which I was very thankful for, because there was nothing I could have done about that. I would have just slammed him in sideways, and that would have been effectively my race over. Now, bear in mind, this is still the first lap. We've lost quite a few cars. I'm not quite sure how many cars we've lost, and I'm not quite sure what my relative positioning is. I'm just waiting now as we come up this flat straight here to find out what that will be. And magically, I'm fourth. That's nice. I'm glad about that, because it means I've survived that rampant part of the race where all of the people that are going to be wrecked, those people that are still gaining some experience, still learning the craft, we've all been there, so I don't want to be too critical of that. Those people who are learning the racing craft have wiped themselves out of the race. They'll probably rejoin a little bit later when they've had their free repair, but let's deal with that problem when we need to deal with it. At the moment, my problem now is closing the gap between the front runners. You can see positions 1, 2 and 3. We've got a rookie up the front there, Thomas. He's actually been in the lead from the very start. He's got a 2.7 rating there, which is pretty good for a safety rating. Behind him is a C-class rating, that's Christian. And Santu is behind him. He's A-class. Now, that's really impressive. So I've got to now try and catch up with these people. As you can see with the relative there, I'm not that far behind them to Santu. I'm only about 3.5 seconds. In racing terms, yeah, that's quite a distance. You can see there's like 130 meters. That's a lot to catch up, except that he's only going to make a few mistakes, and yeah, I could see that distance shrink over a period of time. During this time that I've just been nattering to you, we've done another lap and Santu's got another 50 meters on me, so there's that. But I'm still quite hopeful that I can close this distance, although as you can see there, we have Cortez, I think his name is, has just come back on the track from getting his free repair, and so he's now ahead of us, another rookie. That's going to mix it up a little bit, because when you get a car coming out like that, it causes the leaders to slow down, or it causes complications in overtaking. There's all sorts of stuff. It's racing. That's what happens when cars come back out of the pits. And as we come around the corner here, you can see Cortez, I think his name is. Might be getting that wrong. Apologies if I am. He's just ahead of me in the red car there, trying to catch up with Santu. He's got his work cut out, to be honest with you. Santu is a faster driver than him, and if he hangs on to his coattails for too long, he's probably going to come a cropper somewhere along the line. I've done that many times. I've come up behind a fast driver and I've tried to copy their driving line in order to improve my racecraft, and I've learned some stuff from doing that, but usually doesn't end particularly well. And you usually end up crashing. But like I say, it's a good way to learn. You hang on to the coattails of the faster driver in front of you, see what they're doing, see where they're braking, see where they're driving, see them using the full capacity of the track, and you learn, and hopefully you don't crash too much while you're doing that. Skipping ahead of the race here, now I'm crossing the line, I'm getting a 1:37.429, which at that stage of the race was the fastest lap put in by any car. I was quite pleased with that, quite chuffed in fact. I've still got Caesar in front of me now. I can see his full name so I can tell you that. Sorry Caesar, that I got your name wrong there. And we're coming down the hill. He's still in front of me. I'm still maintaining a kind of a distance from Santu. He's not getting too far ahead of me, but if he continues at this pace, I am definitely going to be in fourth place. Caesar comes off here, span on this particular corner. It's a really dangerous corner, that one, in such a big plume of smoke. I was kind of regretting my settings, my graphical settings choice in iRacing, because I was blindsided as I came through it here. In fact, as we come around this corner here, if you look over to the left, you can see the smoke still billowing up over the barrier there. That's quite phenomenal. But with Caesar out of the way, that leaves me, in theory, a clear run at Santu. He's still ahead of me there, about 120 meters. So I'm kind of thinking to myself that I'm gaining on him, but in reality, okay, yeah, I am gaining on him, but I think the reason I'm gaining on him is because there's another back marker come out from the pits. You see Ostap there in blue. He's probably ahead of Christian, holding him up, and that's why I'm now catching places 2 and 3. It's a bit disappointing that my own ability is not leading to this closing of the gap, but the fact that they're being slowed down by a back marker. But hey, you take your luck where you can, you know what I mean? It's racing. Everybody has back markers, and that's my advantage in this case, and if I can catch these two, it may end up being my disadvantage. We shall see. Later in that lap, the problem sorted itself out as Ostap came off the track and Santu and Christian snuck past him. Santu now in second place with Christian in third place. I've still got Ostap in front of me as we approach this top corner here, and I'm wondering how I'm going to get past him. But rather conveniently, he decides to park on the grass for me and let me go by, which I thought was very, very helpful. But now, once again, I have a clean sweep at Christian and Santu, who are ahead of me by about 100 meters. So they're closer in this lap than they have been in other laps and seem slightly more attainable to me. They're probably also not focused on me particularly, as they are in a battle now for second place. They've probably decided at this point, with Thomas being so far ahead, he's about 300 meters ahead of me at this point, so about 250 meters ahead of them, they're not going to catch him. So it's really this battle for second place that's going on with them. I'm really wanting to be part of that battle, so I want to catch them up and at least get a third place, possibly a second, maybe, depending if these two wipe themselves out in this battle for second place. I could profit from that. I don't know. The point is, I can see them. I can physically see them on the track, and there is a chance. We've still got 3 laps of this race left. It's possible. It's possible for me to catch them and get on the podium. The chance for this became even more astute to me as we rounded this corner, and up ahead of me, unknown to me at this time, number 3, Thomas, the car that had been leading all throughout the race, suddenly lost control of his car. He does this dramatic spin to try and get back on track, and to be honest with you, it was really impressive, but it's not enough. It's not enough to save his place. He's lost first place to the 2 following cars. He's now in third, and not only that, he's got the ignominy of me bearing down on him, hoping to steal third place for him. This is a car that has led for 6 laps, suddenly finds himself in third place. I'm not quite sure what happened there. He just made a classic iRacing mistake going around the corner, lost focus for a second there, and yeah, that dramatic wheel spin he did to bring himself back in the race was great, but yeah, not enough. not enough. He's in third place. We've got Christian in first place now, leading out there by 100 meters from me, and Santo behind him. Thomas is really, really snapping at the heels of Santo now. He wants that first place back, and I can't blame him after leading the race for so long. He must be kicking himself. But now I'm wondering, can I capitalize on this with all this going on, with all this drama happening between these three cars who are now effectively locked in a battle for first place? Can I come up behind them and capitalize on that and steal maybe a third, maybe a second, maybe even a first place? It's so exciting when iRacing comes down to this. You get some random event which completely upturns the entire race and puts everything back on the table, everything to play for. Except that, look at the lap count. We're on lap 8. There's not much of the race left. If I want to capitalize on this, if I want to get on the podium, I've got to drive as fast as I possibly can to catch these drivers who are faster, better drivers than me, but who are under an enormous amount of pressure at this stage in the race. You can see we're going around the corner there. Everybody's on their back bumper. A small mistake at this point, people are going to collide. They're going to take each other off the track. They're going to wipe themselves out for the rest of the race. It's unbelievably tense at this point. I'm feeling the pressure myself, because I really know that if I make a slightest mistake here, you can see I'm going a little bit wide on this corner. I'm not quite holding the exact driving line that I should, and suddenly I've dropped about 20 meters from Thomas. And if I'm looking to catch this car up, if I'm looking for a podium place, this isn't the way I should be driving. But yeah, I'm sweating now. I'm really feeling the pressure. I'm really feeling, oh, I so much want this podium place. I can taste it. But I don't know how I can catch these drivers. I don't know how I can find the ability to overtake them. And then what's more, hold this place. It's lap 9. We're coming round now. Thomas is ahead of me. He's making some mistakes, and I'm closing on him through his bad driving. I mean, say bad driving, it's the fact that he's under pressure. That's what's happening here. And also he's probably still kicking himself from that mistake he made earlier. But it's allowing me to catch up with him. Whether or not it's enough to overtake him, I'm not so sure. He's still, even at his worst here, he's still a better driver than me. And that's tough. That's tough for me then to have him as a competitor. I haven't got to worry really about anybody sneaking up behind me. The nearest one is 435 meters behind me. That's a long way. Unless I make a massive mistake and spin out here, I'm going to get at least 4th place. But if Thomas makes another mistake, if I can sneak past him, then I could get a 3rd place. I'm not so sure now that I can catch Santu or Christian. They're way ahead of me. But again, if they make a mistake, we can all capitalize on it. We can all win from other people's mistakes. It's brutal, but that's racing. That's what racing is about. You're trying to get your best lap while at the same time capitalize on other people's mistakes. That's what it's about. And coming in now on the final lap there, Thomas did not a particularly good turning as he came around that corner, but I didn't do a particularly good one either. And I'm coming down here. I'm playing in VR, don't forget. So if you're wondering why my my viewpoint looks a bit strange here, it's because in VR it looks perfectly normal. But we're coming down here now on this corner. Thomas is sliding a bit. I don't know whether he's picked up some damage. He is slower than those two cars in front, whereas before he was leading him. So I'm kind of suspecting that there may be a bit of damage on his car. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to really catch up Christian or Santu. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to catch him up either. At the front there, Christian and Santu are in a desperate bid now for first place. They really are throwing those cars around the corner there. You saw Santu risked a big burnout on that corner just to keep ahead of Christian, who is sniffing at his back bumper as Thomas comes up behind him, really looking to see if he can get that 2nd place, maybe 1st place. They're all so close to each other here. Look, it's just one mistake away from not being on the podium. But Fortunately for Santu, he holds it together. Experience of the A-class driver, I suppose, there, and he takes it past the line, getting a well-deserved first place with Christian in second. And Thomas, unfortunately, he can still only get a third place, and I get a fourth. I'm happy with that. I got one of the fastest laps of this race. I would have liked to have been third place, but still, I was pleased to be in what was a very exciting race and a very exciting finish. I hope you enjoyed that too. I really enjoyed showing it to you. It was great to get away from technical stuff for 5 minutes and be able to just show you what racing is like when it's really exciting. Remember, this is a rookie race. Yeah, there were these crashes and there were these pile-ups, but still, it was an exciting race, and at the front, it was a clean race. And I really enjoyed myself. Till next time, race clean, and I'll see you on track. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the like button, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe. Click the little bell icon if you want to be notified of any future videos.